Hi, my name is Jacob Chavez, and I'm here to tell you why you should not vote for a rise in minimum wage. Have you ever wondered what would happen if minimum wage rose? Would you actually be making more money in the long run? While a rise in minimum wage does sound amazing for everyone, it actually is not that great as it sounds in the long run. A rise in minimum wage will cause a chain of reactions that will follow after the increase. I hope by the end of the speech I have convinced you that an increase in minimum wage is something you do not want and something you will be against. Now let's cover why a rise in minimum wage will cause a negative effect for everyone. First of all, if minimum wage were to rise, then jobs will have to pay their employees more, which will cause issues for companies, and there will be a loss of job opportunities available. If you think that minimum wage will reduce poverty rates, then that is incorrect. This relates back to the fewer job opportunities. People who have less experience than others will have more difficulties finding work. Plus, if they have jobs now, they are at risk of losing those jobs. Therefore, a possibility in poverty rates increasing may happen. Another group of people who will be impacted by the rise in minimum wage are teenagers. Teenagers who are searching for high school and summer jobs may not have the opportunity because of a cutback on employees from minimum wage increase. Employers want to hire more experienced people. So it may be nearly impossible for teens to find jobs because it's already nearly impossible for teens to find work in certain areas today. An increase in minimum wage will also cause inflation. Prices will go up, such as your clothing and groceries. Also, your utility bill may go up as well, including your rent. The whole cost of living expenses will go up, so technically you're really not making more money than you did before if you make minimum wage. Another spot where inflation will take place is in your subscriptions, such as your Amazon Prime or Hulu or other similar companies with subscription prices. They will have to raise their prices to keep making their profit because they have to pay their employees the extra money. And companies will have to cut back on their employees. They will have to pay more to keep up with minimum wage and take more money out of their profit. So to prevent losing profit, they'll have to cut back on the number of their employees to save themselves money. And people who make over minimum wage will be greatly affected because people who make at minimum wage will not really have a change in income because minimum wage rose. But if someone makes over minimum wage, the last thing they'll receive is a pay increase in their salary. So inflation will occur and the cost of living will go up, and people who make over minimum wage will actually have a lower income and will have less leftover money from their paycheck after paying expenses. Employees may also lose their benefits, such as their insurance, because companies may not be able to afford to supply employees with insurance. Employee satisfaction will also decrease. Loss of benefits may be one reason why, but also more work because of less workers will cause the employees to feel exhausted, overworked, and stressed. This can cause an emotional and or physical harm to the worker, forcing him or her to quit. And did you know that the government is trying to push the federal minimum wage up to $15 an hour? Imagine what it would be like when inflation starts to set in. Minimum wage jobs are only supposed to be temporary jobs. For example, a high school or college job before you graduate and you start your career. Minimum wage jobs are not designed to be forever jobs to make a living. A major negative effect of a rise in minimum wage is the closure of businesses, especially small businesses ran by families. If their business closes, they won't have any income or money to spend, and they'll possibly end up in debt trying to pay off their business expenses and loans. They'll also have to start their life up from the beginning again at the bottom. Unemployment rates will reach new levels and highs as businesses have to cut back on their number of employees, or closure of businesses will put many people out of work, which, like I mentioned before, will cause a rise in poverty rates. Since unemployment rates will be high, how is anyone going to be able to afford the higher prices of products and expenses after inflation takes place? For people to keep up, they will have to receive assistance such as welfare, so a rise in taxes will also take place. For all of my previous listed reasons, a potential recession and a very slim chance of a depression can also take place. So now let's go over what we learned today. When minimum wage rises, you actually will not be making any more money, and the cost of living will go up, and so will prices everywhere else. So if you make minimum wage, you'll basically be making the same amount of money as you did before. If you make over minimum wage, then technically you'll be making less money than you did before because of the increase in prices. And today I hope my speech convinced you to oppose a rise in minimum wage, and if you already are against minimum wage, I hope I strengthen your reason why. Now I'd like to give credibility to my sources. ResearchGate.net, the negative effects of raising minimum wage in America, and the unintended consequences of raising minimum wage to $15 by Forbes, and how higher minimum wage and wages impact employee, also by Forbes. Thank you for listening to my speech.